I'm trying to push the needle forward on our Carnival ride restoration project. I've got these jack screws that I need to finish up, and for that, I need feet for them to rest down in. So I've got the pattern here for the foot of our jack stands pretty well made. We're going to have 4 of these cast in cast iron. So I'm just about ready to send it to the foundry, but before I do that, I want to verify that the pattern is good, that it doesn't get stuck in the mold. So I'm going to ram it up here in sand just the way I would as if I was pouring this in aluminum. That way we'll know ahead of time, make sure that the foundry doesn't have any issues with this pattern. So we're going to get set up here, ram this up, and see what it looks like. Last time I tried to use this, the sand was a little bit too dry. I've added some moisture to it, and I've let it sit for quite a while. So hopefully it's ready to use again. It's a little dry, but it does compact. I just put the upper half of the flask on here while I'm ramming it up to contain the mess. This might still be a little bit too dry. I think we're going to have to leave it in there for now because our indentations on the other side are not going to necessarily line up properly. Yeah, that's a problem. It's getting stuck in there. Okay, that comes out good. We may still have a little bit of an undercut in here. Oh no, that just fell right out. Yeah, I just need to pack it better. Alright, let's try it again. Just this part. I just want to verify it's possible to get it out of there. Nope, broke again. I think our sand is not wet enough. I'm going to wet the sand and we'll come back again tomorrow night and try this again. So I just had a complete change of plans here. I've been going down a road with this project for quite some time. And I realized tonight that there was a crossroads and I didn't notice it and I just kept barreling down the road. So the history of this is I designed this piece and I said, okay, how are we going to make that? I don't really want to spend all that money to get a ball end mill to cut this spherical depression in here. So if I can model this and cast it out of aluminum, I can eliminate that because it'll be cast into the part and a little bit of sandpaper and it'll be fine. So we went down that path. And then as we're going down that path, I decide, well, you know, because of the weight that this thing is subjected to, maybe we should have it made out of cast iron. So I contacted the foundry. And the foundry said, sure, I'll make them for you. So I've been spending all this time now getting this mold prepped, talking to them about, you know, kind of how they might want to do it, making some changes to the mold, and, you know, testing it now to make sure it works. And as I was rehydrating the sand here and getting it some moisture back into it, the thought occurred to me that at no point in time have I talked to the foundry about how much they're going to charge me for this job. And I don't know what it is to make 4 of these, but I'll bet it's more expensive than just going out to buy a ball end mill. So that's what I've done. I just bought a ball end mill and a holder for it. This is a very simple job to do on the lathe if you have the right tooling. And I've got the right tooling coming now. So we're going to get some 4-inch round, and we're just going to pop these out of the lathe and be done with this project. All right, I'm over at the lathe, and we're going to spend some time over here today making this part out of metal. I've got my drawing, and it's a pretty simple part. But more importantly, I've got the 1.25" ball end mill that makes this possible. I went ahead and just got some steel blanks to simplify this even further. So we're going to chuck these up in the lathe and just have at it. That's a really nice chip coming off of there. Well, I think that's it. Just got to take it to the mill now and put 4 holes in it. Oh, and make 3 more. And now we'll flip it. All right, we'll slow it down and get the big boy out. All right, I think what I'm going to do next is take these parts over to the workshop at my day job. We've got a big Bridgeport milling machine over there with a digital readout, and that should speed up the process of accurately placing these holes. All right, let's see if we can figure this out. We're going to do a bolt hole pattern. We're currently sitting at our center point. Diameter is going to be 3 inches. 4 holes. And we'll do the starting angle at 45 degrees, and will be 360. Why is that so screwed up? I just ruined a piece. So I'm still not exactly sure what went wrong with this one. I was thinking about it on the ride home, and I was thinking maybe I was interpreting the way the digital readout was working incorrectly. Maybe when I put 45 to 360, it was putting holes in that range, but even this layout doesn't make sense, so I'm really not sure what it was doing. We're just going to regroup here, and we're going to mark these by hand. I have created a small version here. A little bit of spray 77 on the back just to give it a little bit of stiction, because these are not super critical in any way. And we've got our automatic center punch put in there. That should give us what we need. All right, we're over here on the mill, and we've got a little spotting drill. So that should allow us to line up on that hole. Get this new cutting fluid I've been using. It's actually like a wax. This cutting fluid comes in like a gel and a paste. Not sponsored, just trying it out. I'm starting to second guess myself if maybe I only should have put 3 holes in these, but it's fine. Alright, I've done a bit of investigating here with our failed piece, and I've determined that I can get one of the holes to line up to the bolt hole pattern, and then we just have this one that's way out of whack. So my plan is to drill and tap this for a 1/2 inch bolt, and then we'll Loctite that in there, cut off the excess to fill the hole, and then we'll continue on with our normal bolt pattern. Okay. I only ever really use this to start the tap. Yeah, I know it's started square. All right. That is through. Let's check our bolt fit. Yeah, that'll work. I think we're going to try to use some of this. This is green Loctite. It's meant to be used as a bearing retainer. It can fill up to 4/1000ths of an inch gap. I was going to use red, but let's try this stuff and see what happens. That is indeed green. All right, I'll probably let that sit for 24 hours before I do anything to it.
24 hours later.
All right, I've got no idea if this is going to work or if I'm just going to succeed in breaking my cutoff tool. No, it is cutting. It's scary. Looks like we're about halfway through. All right, just keep going. That worked way better than I expected. I don't think we can complain about that. So repair. This tool did an amazing job handling that interrupted cut, and it was provided by Winky's Workshop. So if you're interested in something like this, go check out his channel. Okay, let's see what kind of luck we have drilling right down the side of that bolt. It's either going to work or it's not. That's profound, huh? Well, that looks like a success. Alright, so these are all going to get sandblasted tomorrow in preparation for epoxy priming. There's our repair right there. I wished it hadn't happened, but I'm happy with how it came out. So pretty happy with how these turned out. Like I said, I wish that mistake hadn't happened, but I'm pretty happy with the repair. Next thing I need to do, though, is make some custom cribbing blocks. They need to be recessed for these things to fit into, and I'm going to be working on that this coming week. So if you don't want to miss any of that, click that link to the left and come along for the ride.